What is going on, guys? My name is Richard and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about upside reversals, which are an alternate entry setup that you can use to start a completely new position or add on to an existing one. And the more I trade, the more I become reluctant to start a completely fresh position on a breakout. And that's because institutions know that a lot of eyes are on a stock when it nears that resistance point, whether it's news driving it up or earnings. And often they will sell into that news, drop the stock a bit, shake everybody out, and then buy it back and it moves higher without all those retail traders. And so I've been looking to find these alternate entry points that get you in with a solid cushion before that breakout. And I use the stochastic crosses, the green dot, the teal dot, the Bollinger Band bounces, all those different kind of entry setups. And the upside reversal is just another one to kind of add to your arsenal. And overall, upside reversals look something like this and also like this, where you've got a very long tail and a close right near the top of the trading range. And overall, finding these is a bit of an art form, and I have created a PCF code to help you guys in TC2000 to find these and help train your eyes. But overall, my definition is probably a bit different than other people's. And if you do want to know the traditional IBD definition, it's in these articles right here, which will be linked down in the description. But overall, for an upside reversal, they want to see a close in the upper 60% of the trading range. And also you want to see the upside reversal take out the prior week's low. And overall, my definition of an upside reversal is very similar to that with a few different conditions. And I also want the low to be below the prior day's low. I want the closing range to be very strong. And I also want to see some consolidation before the upside reversal. And taking a look at the PCF code, I think it would be helpful to go through each condition, and I think it would be helpful to kind of explain my logic because some of these are a bit cryptic, but going through it, I want the closing range, that is the stock 1.1, to be greater than 60%, just like IBD. And this condition right here might be a bit confusing, but overall, I want the closing percentage to be a lot higher than the percentage at the tail. So I want this distance right here to be long. I want a nice long tail. That signifies that it's moved far off the lows, indicating a lot of upside momentum. And then this line right here, I've already talked about. I want the low to take out the prior day's low, shaking out everybody who used this as their stop. And hopefully once all those retail traders are out of the way, the stock can then move up once again. And then this line right here is definitely something you can tinker with and find what works for you. But overall, this ensures that the stochastic has consolidated a little bit, and overall the stock has been dropping for at least a few days before this upside reversal. And overall, if you want less upside reversals to appear on your chart, you can go ahead and mess with this, make it a longer term time frame, such as the 10-4 stochastic, and you can see that a couple disappear, but you do have a few back here. So that is kind of my definition, and I'll switch it back to the 5.2 right here because that's what I found kind of works for me. So here we go, 5.2.1. So there we go. And let's go through a few of these upside reversals and see what happened right after. And obviously this is a strong growth stock with great fundamentals in an overall uptrend. And I think that's the best place and time to use these upside reversals because you want the stock to be pulling back, hopefully on lower volume. And then you want to see the upside reversal showing that the character has changed and it's ready to stop pulling back and is ready to move up once again. And let's focus on this one on 527. So let's go actually back to that day right here and see what it looked like. And overall, you can see that on this day, you can see it had been pulling back for quite some time. Then you had a big drop on 527. A lot of growth stocks looked exactly like this. I got shaken out of a bunch of high-flying names like Docusign on this day. But overall, this is a textbook upside reversal. You can see it actually gapped down on the day, went all the way down to about 48.71. But then it finished very strongly up at 53.27, shaking out everybody and leaving only the institutions holding shares. And also on this day, you can see it retook the 21 EMA, which is a very strong sign. And that's what this purple dot signifies, that the low of the day was below the 21 EMA, and then it closed above it. And then from this day, you can see that on the next day, it had a short-term stochastic cross, also a lower Bollinger Band bounce. And this is kind of exactly what I want to see after an upside reversal. I want to see continued moves upwards, hopefully on volume, and I want to see a short-term stochastic cross, and then shortly after a green dot. That is kind of a sign that the upside reversal is working, and the stock is potentially ready for another move up. Obviously, this one didn't work out immediately, but you had a nice entry if you entered anywhere on this upside reversal, and hopefully your cost basis would have been pretty low, because if you added on this day as it found support, then added a few shares on this day, maybe set up a full position once it broke out, that is a great way to set yourself up for success. And overall, I think that's the best way to play these upside reversals, especially on individual growth stocks. You don't want to set up a whole new position on this day, because it obviously could turn around the next day and drop further. But you want to set your stop at the low of the day or very near to it. And then as the stock keeps proving itself, that's when you continue to add. And one more thing to point out with LVGO, if you go to a weekly chart, you can also use these as signals to kind of show that the stock has changed character. And obviously on a weekly chart, these are even more meaningful. And you can see that it started its huge run after an upside reversal on the week of 320. And since then, it really hasn't looked back. So obviously, if you're really looking for a character change, take a step back, look at a weekly chart, and find these upside reversals. But going to a few more examples, let's look at AMD on a daily chart. And overall, if we go back a couple days, you can see that it had a couple upside reversals within this base right here. And if you don't want to see as many spikes, you can add some different conditions, tinker with the formula, make sure that the stock is above its 50-day moving average, something similar to that. But overall, I kind of like seeing all these different upside reversals, and then I can consider whether I want to start a position on them or not. And overall, I really like this upside reversal right here, where you also had a Bollinger Band bounce. And you can see that from this day, you already had a nice cushion going into the breakout, up about 20%. So that's kind of the goal with these upside reversals, is get your cost basis down so that when it actually breaks out, you can be adding instead of starting a completely new position. And that allows you to kind of sit through some of the pushbacks, such as these pullbacks right here, these inside days, without really worrying about your position. So that is AMD, and going through a few more examples, you can see Futu also had an upside reversal on this day right here. It was also right near a downward trend line. So I think it's great when all these different indicators and setups kind of align on the same few bars. That just shows that you're buying at a nice low risk entry point where your risk is defined. And once again, if I was buying on this day, my stop would be the low of the day, because on an upside reversal, you don't want to see the stock turn around and take out that low. You want that to be the intermediate bottom, and you want to see it increase from there. So that was another success story. Tesla had a few right before the huge breakout, and actually did buy it on this day because it retook the green line. And once again, I like to see the indicators all kind of align on the same few bars. Docusign, as I said, also had a few nice upside reversals on the 27th. SE had a few recent ones right near the bottom of the base, and this one in particular was a really nice one because it also coincided with a bounce off the 10-week moving average. And moving on, let's look at the QQQ, because this isn't just good for individual stocks, it's also very good at kind of timing these market intermediate bottoms. Because in this channel line right here, if we show that, you can see that there's a lot of bounces right here, and they almost all coincide with a nice upside reversal. You can see that right here, 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 and most recently here and here. So I find it very useful to look for these upside reversals when analyzing the market, and also look for downside reversals as well to identify potential tops, because we had two right here this day and also this day right here. Moving on, we've also got FSLY, which had two nice ones like SE within this base right here, and you had a reversal bar, and it also retook the 21 EMA on this day, and you also had one right here with a nice close above the open. And finally, taking a look at Zoom, you also had a bunch of different examples within this base right here, which really kind of identify the bottom and where institutions are coming in to support the stock. And you also had one on this day on the 27th of May, as with a bunch of growth stocks. And this day right here really sparked this rally into the earnings report, which then led to this uptrend and now consolidation. So that's kind of what an upside reversal is, and I think it's just another thing to look out for. Potentially start your position a few days earlier than you would have otherwise, before it breaks that downward trend line or sets up another entry setup. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please go ahead and leave a like down below and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys in future videos.